What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. Today we're talking about the original Xbox exclusives, as well as a few hidden gems for the system. Now, if you were to ask me, Jet Set Radio was one of the best things to come out of Sega's last but immortal console, the Dreamcast. I mean, who the hell would want to blast around on fucking rocket skates whilst listening to music with enough energy to send you into a fit? Developed by Smilebit and released in 2002, the sequel to our first taste of the franchise blessed the Xbox. With all the original's quirks still in place, the game did nothing but improve upon the staples that had made the first outing so memorable. You take control of many characters that make up a gang called the GGs, and are on a mission to gain control of a futuristic Tokyo as you skate, fight and spray for territory. It's all very light-hearted. It oozes confidence and style, a bit like our pal Cliff, who never seems to age and only gets better every time you see him. Jet Set Radio is one of those games you will find yourself coming back to so often. Maybe it's the visuals that pop into life in one of the best cel-shaded styles ever conceived, or it could be the addictive gameplay that will see you jumping around the world like your ass just got caught in a trap. This is one hell of a game, and you will have nothing but fun with it. Ninja Gaiden Black is fucking hard. It will ruin you and probably your friendships as well, but don't let that deter you from one of the best original Xbox exclusives. Released in 2004 and brought to us by the same guys who like to perfectly sculpt animated tits, Ninja Gaiden Black is like a bitchy girlfriend. No matter how many times she treats you like shit, you're still gonna go back for more of that loving. And this is so true. No matter how many times I died within the game, I refuse to put the controller down and give up. It's one of those titles that literally challenges you to get better, almost taunting you at times. Taking control of Ryu is your job to slash through waves of enemies that come at you from all angles. You're empowered with many abilities that even the odds, such as running on walls and water, that all help to keep the flow of the combat enjoyable and rewarding. Many games have tried to capture the essence of snowboarding, but none of them really stood out to me. That is until Amped was released for the original Xbox in 2001. Developed by Indie Built and published by Microsoft Game Studios, Amped would see you taken to the mountains. By gaining sponsorships, it is possible to advance through the game and unlock new areas, as well as items that you can customize your character with. The gameplay, as you would expect, is tight, but where this game really excels is with its visuals. This was a launch title for the system and really showcased what the original Xbox was capable of. Due to the console's hard drive, it was also possible for Indie Built to load entire mountains, instead of just the usual linear courses that we have been used to in previous games of the same nature. Unfortunately, the sequel decided to go all Tony Hawk and act like every person who snowboards is a jackass reject, but that doesn't apply here in the first outing. If you're looking for a realistic, down-to-earth snowboarding game, this is the one to get. Do you like cute cats? Do you like Hoover in the house? How about bending time? What if I told you that some nutter decided to combine all of these elements into an action platforming game? While you're in luck, the crazy fuckers over at Artoon introduced Blinx the Time Sweeper to us way back in 2002, and it quickly became one of my favorite games for the system. The premise is simple. You're a cat with a Hoover that possesses time traveling abilities. You traverse each environment whilst taking out enemies that are hell-bent on screwing up time, and it's your job to put it right. Blinx's Hoover allows you to control time with 6 different variations. Rewind, fast forward, pause, record, slow and retry. That can all be used in order to manipulate enemies as well as the environment. In order to gain these abilities, you must collect time crystals that appear in the game's world. They can be triggered at any time but are limited by how many time holders you possess. The cute art style and intriguing gameplay always kept me coming back for more. Blinx is simply a pure joy to play, and I could not recommend it highly enough. Bloodwig was released for the original Xbox upon launch, and introduced us to a game that basically feels just like Twisted Metal but on water, offering a pretty robust story mode with 28 missions that will get you accustomed to the game's controls and mechanics. You play as Shao Kai, who is on a mission seeking revenge against his brother who left him for dead. Okay, the story is not the game's strong point, but where Bloodwig really shines is within the various multiplayer modes it offers. As well as being able to choose the vehicles and weapons presented in the single player campaign, the multiplayer mode introduces more customization and gives you the ability to really play around with the different setups of each ship. In order to get the most out of the game, it is crucial that you complete the campaign, as all the good stuff is unlocked due to your progression. Now, before I go any further, this is only on the list due to the amount of ass and tits this game offers. Why else would it be on here? If you don't agree with that, you're either gay, a feminist, or just a plain cunt. There's no beating around the bush with this game. Well, there kind of is if you know what I mean, but yeah, it's probably not best to mention out here. Also offering the chance to play a very well thought out volleyball mode, this game is great for those times when the internet has decided to stop working in your home. Yes, I enjoy watching digital ladies bounce around. Do I have issues? Quite possibly, but that doesn't change the fact that this game is actually really good and includes a generous amount of different modes that sees you participating in many activities. You've got to realize when the Xbox came out, it managed to introduce many new features to gamers that had not been possible before. With the inclusion of a hard drive inside the console, it was possible to slam in a music CD and rip it to the system. By doing this, you now had access to your favorite music whilst playing games, and Sega GT 2002 is the first title I tried this with, and probably contributed to the many fond memories I have playing it. Admittedly not the best racing game on the system, but after having so much fun with the original on the Dreamcast, I was looking forward to this one. With a healthy selection of cars and tracks, there is plenty to keep you busy as you work your way through the vigorous career mode and begin to perfect your driving skills. Although lacking an online multiplayer mode, which was saved for an updated release a year later, you can still enjoy the game with a friend and take advantage of the various modes available to you, as well as the cars you earn throughout the game's campaign. I'm probably going to butcher the shit out of this name, but here goes. Gun Far Cry is a third-person shooter developed by those lovable bastards that brought us Jet Set Radio. Published by Sega in 2002, the game possesses a pretty unique control scheme. Using 2 analog sticks for its primary form of input wasn't really a good idea, but after repeatedly throwing my controller at the screen, it all finally clicked, and what was once a chore became nothing but a joy. The game has a flow to it, an almost rhythmic aspect that really contributes to the gameplay as you dart around the 10 levels that comprise the adventure. You take control of Kelly, who works for an elite military force and are tasked with tracking down the whereabouts of a Dr. Gate, originally in development for the Sega Dreamcast, and with the intention to use an even more bizarre control scheme that included a light gun as well as a controller. I'm glad the game made the jump to the Xbox. Make sure you give this one a go. Released for the Xbox back in 2006, Cyanide is a shoot-'em-up that was developed by PlayLogic Entertainment. As with most shoot-'em-ups, you're presented with a variety of different enemy types and must take them down whilst making your way through each stage. Many gaming critics did not receive the game well, taking issues with the game's controls and level design that apparently felt bland. Because of this, Cyanide has gone by largely unnoticed by many. It was far ahead of its time when originally released, and has held up extremely well with age. If you're looking for a more classical style of game where you can turn off your brain and annihilate wave after wave of enemies as you dodge obscene amounts of enemy fire, Cyanide is for you. A hack-and-slash game developed by From Software, Otogi was unleashed upon the Xbox fanbase way back in 2002. You take control of Raiko, who was born into a clan of executioners and is tasked with killing his own father. Instead of fulfilling his orders, Raiko decides to flee and takes with him the Soul Shrine, an ancient sword possessed by the clan's leaders. Upon escaping, the seal separating the demon and human worlds is broken. Raiko is almost killed, but ultimately saved by a princess who gives him a new body in exchange for his services. And so you begin your quest to restore the seal and stop the ones responsible for its collapse. Possessing destructible environments and a huge 29 stages that comprise the campaign mode, you're in for one hell of a ride. Taking cues from many of the genre's contemporaries, the gameplay never fails to impress and kept me on the edge of my seat as I made it through the story. The battle system is elegant but simple. There's not a lot of room for customization, but it just works. Difficulty sometimes can be a pain in the ass, but only a few stages cause trouble. If you can find this game lying about, I recommend you pull the trigger and pick it up. This was one of the last games to appear on the original Xbox right before the 360 was released, and for this reason it largely went unnoticed by many gamers. I'll be honest with you, the thought of another run-of-the-mill shooting-based game never got me hard, but the way in which Phantom Dust presents itself completely took me by surprise. Combining strategy and fast action, the gameplay is incredibly deep and a lot of fun once you get the hang of things. It has some issues though. The targeting system can become a bit of a pain, as well as the combat becoming repetitive, but buried beneath the dusty the clunkfuck of a single player campaign is a delightfully robust multiplayer mode, which is where Phantom Dust really took off for me. Having the ability to face foes not only in the same room as you, but also around the world really helped elevate my experience and went a long way ensuring that this game would hold a place in memory. There is only one thing in this world that I desire. Okay, maybe two things, and one of them is a fucking new Panzer Dragoon, a released a HD remake of this bad boy, Panzer Dragoon Orta. Released for the original Xbox in 2002, the classic series skipped the Dreamcast and surfaced 4 years later after its predecessor for the Sega Saturn. What some like to call the never-ending story simulator, Panzer Dragoon sees the player riding a dragon, all the while intercepting aerial and ground threats. You possess the ability to transform your dragon into 3 different forms. The base wing, which acts as the game's standard class with no clear weaknesses or strengths, the heavy wing, which is best used for dealing higher amounts of damage but also comes with the disadvantage of less mobility, and finally the glide wing, which acts as the game's speed class and is perfect for tight situations when facing many enemies on screen. The game takes place across episodes, each with a boss at the end, as you unravel the game's surprisingly intricate plot. Panzer Dragoon Orta seriously deserves your time. Well, that was it, guys. There will be a second part to this video, so if you didn't see your favorite Xbox exclusive on this list, let me know in the comment box below and I'll include it in a part 2. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I will see you next time.